Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a makeup testing video and it is testing a whole brand, e.l.f. makeup, which I've not really used much before, and I think they are just starting to be sold in Superdrug, so for those of you in the UK like me, it's going to be a lot easier to get hold of. Everything I got was off their website. They do have a website that, I'm not sure if it's based in the UK, but it ships to the UK. And a few weekends ago, they were doing 50% off everything. So I bought a full face of makeup then, and I thought I'd put it to the test for you. And this is the final look I came up with. So if you'd like to see how I did this look and what I think of the products, then just keep on watching. I'm going to start off with my eyes. I've just got into doing my eyes first recently, so that is what I'm going to do. I have used some of these eye products. I tried to film this video last weekend and it all went a bit wrong and I gave up after I'd done the eyes. So I have used this eyeshadow primer and the eyeshadows, but all the rest of the products I've never used before and it's a complete first impression. So I thought I would just put that little disclaimer in there. So the first product I'm going to use is the Shadow Lock eyeshadow primer. All of these products are really affordable. This is £3. So let's put it on my face. So it just comes with a little doe foot applicator. So I'm going to pop it onto my lids and just blend it in with my finger, which is how I usually do my primer. I always use an eyeshadow primer. I just find my eyes need it. I usually use the Urban Decay one, which obviously is a bit more high-end, a lot more expensive. But when I did use this last time, it did seem to work quite well. Now the eyeshadow palette I got is this, which is the Everyday Smoky palette. Which is just mostly like cool toned eyeshadows. This palette was £12.50, so really affordable. I'm going to take this shade first, which I dug my finger into, which is really annoying, and a Real Techniques base shadow brush, and just use that to set my primer. Take it all over the lid right up to the brow bone. I'm waiting for some parcels to be delivered at the moment, so I might have to keep running off. Also, my boyfriend is taken my, because he's a mechanic, he's taken my car to work with him today to service it after work. And in his wisdom, he took all of my keys plus all of his keys, so I can't open the front door. So when I get the parcels arrive, I'm gonna have to like hang out the front room window and look like a bit of a weirdo. So thanks for that, Craig. Next I'm going to take this shade, which is like a cool toned like greyish brownish colour. I'm just going to take that on my Spectrum C06 brush and use that in my crease. This shade isn't the most pigmented. I mean, you can see it, but I am finding when I'm kind of blending it, it's kind of blending away a little bit. If you can hear little footsteps, by the way, that's my kittens running around. They have their mad moments. I think anyone who has cats will probably know what I'm talking about. There they go. What are they doing? So I'm just going to do the same on the other eye. I'm going to put the cats downstairs because they're making so much noise. Right, so that is my transition shade done. It's not the most pigmented. I'm not completely in love with this shade. Next I'm going to take this slightly darker brown. This is a little bit more warm toned, a lot browner than the greyer toned one here. Now I'm going to take a Body Shop N83E brush and just take that in my crease also. to darken it up a little bit. So I think this shade I'm finding a bit easier to kind of build and blend than the first one. So perhaps a little bit of inconsistency with the mattes in this palette, but none of them are terrible. Like, I still feel like I can get a nice finish out of them. And then more on the side of my brush, I'm just going to take a bit of that colour onto the outer corner of my lid. And I like to do this just to intensify things a little bit. I'm fairly impressed with these. Like I said, they're not the most pigmented, but they are buildable and quite blendable and nice. So I think it takes a little more work, but you can get a really nice look out of this. And like I keep saying, they are super affordable. So yeah. Next I am going to go in with, I think I'm going to use this colour here, which is kind of pinky, really cool toned pinky colour, but like really muted. It's got a really grey undertone. I'm just gonna use a Body Shop N93E, which is like a flat shader brush, and pack that onto my lid. It's not the most like intense pigmented shimmery colour, but it is a really kind of pretty natural looking colour, if you know what I mean. Like if you're going for a full-on glam sparkly eye, then this is not the eyeshadow for you. But I think for an everyday kind of subtle eye, I think that looks quite pretty, if you can see. This is the Expert liquid liner. I got the one in jet black and it was £3, so very affordable. And it comes with the nice long handle and has like the little brush tip, and it's a liquid. I usually use felt tips. I have been using a Sigma one that's a liquid recently, but I'm not as good at liquid liners, so please bear with me. So that is one eye done. I'm pretty pleased with how it came out actually. I know it's not perfect, but like I said, I'm not the best with wing liner. So I quite like the brush. It was quite easy to control. It's quite black, so first impressions, not bad, especially for £3. I'm going to do the other eye off camera now. Next I am going to use this waterproof gel eyeliner pencil in black. This is £5, and I'm just going to put this in my tight line. I like doing this just to kind of make my lashes look a bit fuller, because I don't have very full lashes as it is. I just find this defines them and makes them look a bit fuller and thicker. So it's nice and black. It says it's waterproof, so I want to see if it's going to transfer down onto my waterline, because that quite often happens with me. I think I have quite watery eyes. So yeah, that is what is going to be the real test with me. But at the moment it went on nicely. It's quite creamy and very black. So for now I like this. First I'm going to prime. This is the Tone Adjusting Face Primer. I think there was a few different types of this, but I got the green one, which is good for redness, which is obviously what I need for my skin. This comes in two different sizes. This is a small one, which is £7.50. Then they do a bigger one for £12.50. Now that is not what I was expecting. That is very green, like Shrek green. So we'll just see. I'm gonna put it on using my hands, because that's how I always put my primers on, and I'm not quite sure how much to use, so we'll start with that and go from there. It feels quite a silky kind of silicone-y texture, so if you're the kind of person that doesn't like that kind of primer, then you probably won't like this. I am hoping it's kind of gonna fill my pores a little bit, because it feels like that kind of primer, if you understand what I mean. I feel like the green is kind of blending away completely. It's not leaving my face green, but I also don't feel like it is masking my redness in the slightest. Obviously I know I do have quite extreme redness, so I wouldn't expect a primer on its own to mask it, but I don't feel like it's made any difference at all at the moment. I also got this little concealer, like the colour correcting palettes. This is £4.50, and it comes with a yellow, a blue, a green, and like a peachy colour as well. I am going to take a Real Techniques detailer brush and apply it to my face. So let's go in with a tiny bit to begin with in here. Oh, that's very bright. That was a lot brighter than I was expecting. I don't feel like this brush is going to blend this out, so I'm just going to use my fingers to get right in here and blend it in. So I'm quite impressed with that actually. I feel like it's really brightened up the inner corners of my eyes, and it's gone on quite nicely. So we will see what the green one is like. I'm just going to use the other side of this brush. It's very creamy, like I can tell it's going to blend really nicely. It's like a lot more liquidy than I thought it was going to be. Again, just going to pat this in with my finger. I'm usually one for liquid concealers to do this. Oh wow, I might have put too much on. Yeah, I think I've put too much on. It looks like a little bit of this goes a very long way, because I look a bit crazy right now. So let's just take my sponge and kind of blend that out and shear it out a bit. Right, that's a bit better. I'm pretty impressed with that actually. I really like the formula. I was expecting it to be a lot more kind of thick and claggy, but actually it's really kind of soft, blendable concealer, and it has neutralised my redness quite a lot and really brightened up the inner corners of my eyes where I get quite dark in here. So yes, I'm liking this so far. Next I'm going to go in with foundation. This is the Flawless Finish foundation, and it says it is oil free with SPF 15. So yeah, I have heard a couple of people talk about this and I've heard quite good things, so we shall see. So let's just pump it on. Oh, that might be too much. Right, so I'm going to leave it at that just for now, because I don't know how much of this I need. I'm going to use my Morphe G6 brush to blend this out. Fingers crossed it's going to be the right colour. It doesn't look too bad actually. Coming out of the pump it felt quite thick, but it's not feeling too heavy on my skin at the moment. It's not quite giving me the coverage that I would look for. I think I'm going to have to apply a bit more, so perhaps a little bit of this doesn't go very far, but we shall see how it all blends out. It's feeling quite comfortable, like it doesn't feel like a really heavy foundation on my skin, which is nice, especially in the summer. I am used to wearing quite heavy foundations anyway because I'm more of a full coverage kind of person, so but in comparison to some of the other foundations I use, this is very comfortable. I feel like it is slightly building up in coverage, but I haven't quite got the coverage I want just yet. It's not covering all my redness. So let's see how it builds up if I add a bit more. So yeah, I feel like it is building a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to get this to completely cover my rosacea. But I don't have, to be honest, I don't think I have many foundations that do that anyway. And for such a cheap foundation, this is looking pretty good at the moment. This is £7.50. I can't remember if I said that or not. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this so far. I'm not sure if it's the primer or it's a foundation, but it's not settling into any pores and not really settling into fine lines. I quite often get foundation settling in my lines on my forehead, but it's not really doing that at the moment. And yeah, no settling into pores or anything. Doesn't look cakey. Quite often I get cakey around my nose, and this looks nice and smooth. Yeah, and it's quite a natural look. It's not glowy, but it's not super matte, so fairly natural finish, I would say. This is the HD Lifting Concealer. I have the shade Fair. I think they only had like 3 shades. There wasn't a huge amount of choice. This is £4.50. I can't remember if I just said. And it comes with the little doe foot applicator. I'm just going to start off with a little bit in case it is a bad colour. And I'm going to blend that out using my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. I don't feel like it has a huge amount of coverage. If you're someone that likes really full coverage under your eyes, then this possibly isn't for you. It's creasing a tiny bit, but I don't have a concealer that doesn't crease under my eyes at the moment. Like, people say that the Tarte Shape Tape doesn't crease on them at all, but even that creases on me. So that's not necessarily a fault of this concealer, it's just me. Let's put a little bit onto my cheeks and see if we can cover this redness a little bit. Just buff that in. So it is covering a little bit. It's not the most full coverage, but it's also not the most heavy. Like, it doesn't feel like I have really heavy concealer under my eyes or my face, so not blown away, but I don't hate it. Next thing I'm going to do is set my face. This is the HD powder, which is just like a white translucent loose powder. Oh, and it says pore powder here in case you weren't sure what to do. Oh wow, that came out quickly. So recently for my under eyes, I have been liking setting them with a sponge. I just kind of tried it recently and I've been liking it that way. So we'll see how it works with this powder. I'm not baking as such. I'm just kind of blending it in to my skin using the sponge, and obviously it's damp, so I feel like it just really blends it in nicely and doesn't leave me feeling cakey, especially under my eyes. I find sometimes if I just powder it with a brush, it just makes my under eyes look really dry and powdery. So I find with a damp sponge, I've been preferring how it comes out. Ooh. Then for the rest of my face, I'm going to take a Real Techniques powder brush and just lightly set using that. I don't feel like it needs a huge amount of setting because it's not particularly shiny or anything anyway, but I just set lightly to try and keep it in place. So at first look, that powder seems quite nice. It's made me quite matte, so if you're going for like a really glowy skin look, I wouldn't use this. But it's nice and smooth, doesn't look too cakey or powdery, and is kind of blended in with my skin quite nicely. So yeah, fairly pleased with this. So next I'm going to do my brows. I have this, which is the Studio Eyebrow Kit, which is £4.50, and it comes with a cream and a cream and a powder and a little double-ended brush as well. I'm not sure what this brush is going to be like, and I've never used an eyebrow product like this before, so it's a bit of a learning curve. So I'm going to go in with the kind of little cream waxy thing first. I'm going to take the little angled side of this brush. I got the shade dark. It does look very dark, so I'm probably going to try and not go too heavy handed with this. This is going on quite nicely. It's not too heavy. I don't like too heavy a brow. I like them to look reasonably natural, but just quite nice and full. Yeah, I'm quite liking that so far. I feel like it's filled my brows in nicely, but they don't look too unnatural. Like, there's still a bit of texture to them. It's quite waxy. So yeah, I feel like that looks quite nice. I'm just going to go in with the little powder now. And this is a thing I've never used. I've never used a brow powder, so this is kind of guessing. I'm just going to kind of set the wax, I guess. Right, so I don't feel like that's added any real pigment, to be honest, but I do feel like it's kind of set the brows in place. So yeah, first impression, I quite like this. I probably will play with it a bit more, but I'm not hating my brows today, so that is a good thing. So even though I feel like my inner corners of my eyes look quite bright from that concealer, but I am going to go in with this highlighter anyway. I'm going to use it on my face as well in a minute. This is just called the Baked Highlighter. The shade is Moonlight Pearls, which is a nice kind of light, kind of champagne-y colour, I want to say. I'm just going to take a little bit on a Real Techniques accent brush and just pop it into my inner corners. I don't think my looks are ever complete without a bit of an inner corner highlight. So that's very pretty, put a nice little glow into my inner corners, but I will come back to that in a minute when I put my highlighter on. So next I'm going to go in with mascara. This is the lengthening and volumizing mascara. I got the black one. First impressions, I can't say I love the look of this packaging. Well, not the look, it looks okay. Like, the plastic's a bit cheapy, but it's a cheap mascara anyway. It's £4.50. But I just feel like this handle is really long and the wand is really short, and I just feel like it's going to be quite difficult to work with, but we shall see what it's like. My eyelashes are rubbish, so this mascara has its work cut out. I quite like the actual wand. I feel like it's separating my lashes nicely. It doesn't look too clumpy. So looking at the difference between my eye with mascara on and without mascara on, I wouldn't say it's hugely volumizing. It's lengthened them a little bit. I like how it's quite separated. The lashes aren't clumpy at all. So they look nice, but I'm not blown away. So yes, just do the other eye. I feel like this is where the short wand is going to be more of a problem. Didn't really bother me on my other eye. Actually, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be really awkward to use with kind of such a short wand compared to handle, but it's not too bad. I eat my words. I have this little duo bronzing and blusher. Just looks like this. I'm not 100% sure if the colours are going to be quite right on me, but we will give it a go. I don't tend to wear blush on a day-to-day basis. I do with really heavy makeup, but where I do have quite a lot of redness, I don't find I really need blusher. But for the purpose of the video and testing this out, I'm going to use this. But I am a little bit frightened by this colour. This little duo is £5. So I'm going to go in with the bronzer first. It's quite a warm tone bronzer, so I don't really think it could be, I wouldn't use it for contour personally. This is the Fiji Matte shade. This duo is called Fiji Matte. I'm using a Real Techniques blush brush to apply this, which I know is a bit odd, but I still haven't got around to buying a proper like bronzer brush, so this is having to do for now. That's quite nice actually, not too intense. I don't like too much of an intense bronzer. I like it to look fairly subtle, but I feel like this is just warming my face up a little bit without looking too orange or like I've got a big stripe down my face. Next I'm going to take the blush on a Zoeva 127 Luxe Sheer brush. I'm going to go in with this quite carefully because I don't want to overdo it, especially with my skin. So yeah, I'm fairly pleased with this blush. It's not too intense, it's quite natural, and not accentuating my rosacea too much. Next I'm going back in with the baked highlighter. This is £5. I can't remember if I said last time I showed it, and yeah, it's just a little baked highlighter. Obviously. I am going to use the Zoeva 105 Luxe Highlight brush to apply it. Sometimes I know baked products are better wet, but we will see how it applies on its own. Okay, that's quite pretty. It's not the most blinding highlight in the world, but it is very pretty. So yeah, not completely blown away, but again, I don't hate it. I got a lip liner and 2 lipsticks. I got this kind of browny nude toned colour and this very bright pink colour. I think I'm going to go with the more nude brown colour today. And the lip liner, oh that's a brush, the lip liner is kind of a nudie colour as well, so they should go together. So the lip liner, I couldn't really find a real name for it. It's just called the lip liner It's just called the lip liner and blending brush by the looks of things, and I've wiped lipstick all over it. It has this end, which is a mechanical pencil, and the other end it has a brush, I guess for blending. I'm not sure how great it's going to be. It's got a few rogue hairs on my one, if you can see. So we will see how this applies. And this is £4.50. It's a lot pinkier than I thought on the website actually. So I'm pretty impressed with this actually. It is a nice kind of even colour. It was easy to get a nice precise line. I haven't used the brush. I don't think I'm going to bother using that today. But as a lip liner itself, I'm quite liking it at the moment. So next we are going to go in with a lipstick. This is the Velvet Matte lipstick and this is the colour Blushing Brown. So I'm quite liking that lipstick. It's a bit browner than I imagined, but I don't hate the colour. Formula wise, it's very creamy. I wouldn't say it's fully matte. It's definitely got a bit of a sheen to it. It's more of a creamy lipstick in my opinion. I don't know if it's going to dry down anymore, but it's very comfortable. So as like a first impression, I am pretty impressed with how this all turned out, especially considering how cheap a lot of this makeup is. There's nothing I really hate. I think my favourite things have to be the foundation, the colour correcting concealer palette, and probably the liquid liner actually. I quite like that at the moment, very easy to apply. The highlighter hasn't blown me away, to be honest with you. It's not giving me a huge amount, it's very subtle, which is nice sometimes, but it's not like pow. And yeah, the eyeshadows were okay, but not amazing. So that's my first impressions, but I am going to wear this throughout the day and try and check back with you a little bit later. Hello everyone, I am back. It is now about 2:30, so I've had this makeup on for about an hour and a half, so not too long. And I'm about to go out in a little while, so I thought I'd do a little check-in before I go out. The makeup is looking very good still. It's not really changed that much. The foundation is still all intact. It's not faded anywhere, not settled into any pores, not become cakey. The eye makeup still looks good. The lip still looks really good. I've had a drink and eaten some chocolate. And stayed on pretty well. So yeah, pleased with how things are going at the moment, and I'll update you again after I've got back home in a few hours. Hello everyone, I'm back again. It is now about 7 o'clock, so I've had this makeup on for about 7 hours, and I think this is the last check-in I'm going to do. After this I'm just going to go chill out for the evening. I've been out for a few hours. I went to a cookery class actually, which was quite good fun. My lipstick did not survive, but I wasn't really expecting it to. But apart from that, I'd say everything else is still looking pretty good. I'm very impressed with how the foundation is worn. It has come off a little bit around my nose. That is probably where I've been blowing it, because I've got a bit of hay fever, and I've got a little bit of oil coming through on the nose and a tiny bit on the chin. I think it might have faded a little bit around the jawline. My highlight is still there. I think my bronzer's still just about there. I'm pretty sure the blush has faded now though. Eyebrows still look good. Eyeshadow, I can tell it's kind of at the point where it's starting to crease now. So yeah, that primer probably isn't good as my Urban Decay, but for £3, what do I expect really? Liner still looks good, mascara still looks good. So on the whole, I'm pretty happy with how it is worn. So yeah, I think my favourite out of this has to be the foundation. I'm just really impressed with it. For such a cheap foundation, I really like how it's worn and how it's made my skin look. So I think that's my favourite thing, and I also really like the colour correcting palette. I know I said earlier the highlight wasn't that strong, and it's not the strongest highlighter, but after going out in the sun and seeing it in more like natural daylight, it was showing up a bit more then. So don't hate the highlighter, not the best I've ever used. I can't say I really hate anything. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I've really enjoyed filming this one. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below if you have any thoughts. Let me know if you've tried anything from e.l.f. and what your favourite products are. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe if you'd like to see what else I have coming up. Thanks for watching guys. Bye!